All right, today we're gonna do something fun. We're going to unbox XBloom Studio. I'm gonna show you guys what comes in the box and some of that first initial setup. So it's gonna come in the box like this, and you're gonna have some tape here. Make sure you cut it open. And you can kind of open it up like so. And in the box, you're gonna get a few things. So we're gonna go through what each of these are. The first thing with XBloom Studio is you're actually gonna get some XPods. So it's gonna come in this slot here. So right when you get in the machine, you're gonna be able to brew coffee like this with a nice little recipe card. Next, you're gonna get a cleaning brush. You're gonna get an instruction manual with a recipe card for the Omni Dripper. Then you're gonna get Omni Dripper with 10 XBloom paper filters. Catch cup, that's also anti-static. XPod dock for your XPods, and you're gonna get our detachable power cable that comes with Studio. Once you take this top foam insert off, will be your XBloom Studio. So it sits in like that, and it's gonna have a cover over it. When you take the machine out, be careful on how you take the machine out. We have a scale here, there's tape on it. Just make sure you don't grip it too hard. You can grip the machine like this when you take it out, but the scale is here, so just an FYI. Stick your finger under and kind of just lift it out, and there you go. All right, so here's XBloom Studio. And there's gonna be a little bit of a cover here. So you take the cover off, you might notice a little bit of water. That's totally fine. It's because we test the machines before we ship them out. So if you see a little bit of water, don't be afraid. You can just wipe that off. This is all recyclable, by the way. And here we go, we have beautiful XBloom Studio here. So there's a few pieces of tape here on the grinder chute, on the reservoir, and then also the scale. Yep, so it peels off like this. Get your ASMR in there, reservoir. So as you see here, this is actually magnetically attached, and there's also a little of a physical insert there. So when you do take this piece of tape off, you will feel the magnets working there. Goes like this. Take that piece of tape off on the removable drip tray. The drip tray is 2 pieces, so you might have some tape there and it'll take it off. So just make sure you insert it back into there. And right here on the scale. So here is Studio. Now I'm gonna go through a very basic first setup for Studio. The first one is you're gonna need to take your power cable, plug it in, and do a first initial setup of Studio. So just undo this, and we're gonna plug Studio in. And at initial boot up of the machine, there's gonna be some prompts that you'll need to go through. So you'll see you can set the units of what you want your machine to be between Fahrenheit and Celsius. So a big difference with original and Studio is the introduction of these physical knobs here. So that's how you operate each of the menus and navigate through the Studio menu. So all you do is it has 2 functions. You can go left and right and kind of scroll through some settings, and if you want to go into the menu, just push in on the knob. So I'm gonna set this to Celsius and use this arrow to go in. Next is the scale. I can set it between milliliters, ounces, and grams. I'm just gonna set it to grams. Hit right on the arrow. And you can choose between running it off of the reservoir, the tank, or through, we call it tap, but that's the inlet if you want to plumb in your Studio. I'm going to run it on the tank. And then the grinder is then going to calibrate. So after you go through all that, grinder's going to calibrate. It's going to take a little bit. You should be able to hear it. And there's even a kind of percentage here. It's going to make some noises. Don't be afraid, just set Studio aside and the grinder's gonna calibrate and you'll be ready to brew in a moment. You'll get the display there where it'll tell you the percentage of calibration, but also if you put your ear up to it, you'll be able to hear the burrs move. There we go, 100%. It's done. We got a little smiley face. Studio's happy that you're gonna be brewing with him. And there we go. So now the machine's ready. And of course, we gotta fill in some water. So I wanna go through this real quick. At the back, there's a hinge that you can open. And you can even see that on the hinge, we have recommended grind size settings. Depending on what you're brewing and what brewers you're using, you can adjust the different grind sizes of XBloom Studio for that. But yeah, it just plugs back in here, slots in here, and there's a magnet here to connect everything on the back of Studio. Okay, poured in my water from another XBloom Studio into this XBloom Studio, and there we go. So now that we got water in the machine, how do you brew coffee with XBloom Studio? You have a variety of options, and we have videos on each of those, so take a look if you want to see more in-depth instructions on how to brew coffee with Studio. Out of the box, what you can do is you can brew with the supplied XPods. You can weigh out your own coffee and brew using Omni Dripper, attaches into here, also magnetically, of course, put a paper filter in there. Or you can keep this all empty, stick a carafe and your favorite brewer that fits under here and go through that entire process. But at a glance, that's what comes with Studio, and just out of the box, there's a lot to explore. Check out our other videos specifically on how to brew using each mode of Studio. But what we recommend is play around with these XPods since they come with you. You know, it's coffee, it's gonna be tasting good, so try that out and then tap into using your own coffee and your own brewers with Studio. Some other basic operations as well is the usage of the provided cash cup. This cash cup actually has magnets on it and magnets into here. If you're brewing using XPods and the Omni Dripper, make sure you take this off. How this works is this arm goes back, moves here to grind, and then moves back to brew. So just make sure that you take this cash cup off when you are brewing using the XPods or Omni Dripper. But otherwise, that's an unboxing and basic setup of Studio. As you've seen here, this is just what comes in the box. If you want to tap into more brewing capabilities of Studio, you can play around using the knobs and get into our menu, play around with things like grind size, RPM adjustments, pouring patterns, and so on and so forth. Or if you want to be a hyper, true coffee nerd, you can tap into our app and get into kind of the crazy programming that's there. We'll have some videos just on the app usage at a later date, but that's all for today. If you have any questions, let us know. But otherwise, we hope you have a wonderful day. See you guys around. And thanks for checking out this video. Goodbye.